Hi, I'm Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today, live streaming, I'd like to show you how to paint this really fun, easy, very beginner-friendly painting, The Recital. I've got this done in a really abstract style. I've got a lot of fun tools and materials to make you more successful at your result. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hi, guys.
He tracks me with a bunch of cameras so you can see every step of the action because the goal here is that you know you can create this at home for yourself. That's our whole mission, is that you get to paint it. Not that it's not fun to watch me paint it, but it's even more fun to see what you painted. For everybody who's here on the live stream, hi guys! And for everybody who comes on the replay, how you been? Be sure and leave a comment if you're on the replay so I know what you thought of this broadcast and every broadcast. That just makes me better at what I do. Oh, I'm so excited about her. Are you excited about her, John?
Oh, very much so. This is one. I really like the silhouettes, and I especially like when you add these pops of accents. Like that tutu is just something fun. I just kind of dig that. Anyway, so
It is. It's like so tutu-y.
it is.
So
It's like poof, tutu.
let's go over our materials. Now, of course, they're in the description below because that's where we like to hide them because we're tricky like that, hiding all the materials, links to the website and everything in the description below. But, you know, I'll tell you about them too here. This is an 11 by 14 canvas board. Here is one of the traceables. I provide these for you guys for free on my website, so you're welcome to get one if drawing is not your best friend yet. Go ahead and feel like you can trace. We have some wishes for good positivity into the universe. Clara has wishes for her husband's recovery. Oh, DT Hurley for Uncle G and his medical procedure on Monday. I hope that goes really well. EL Quick for safe homes and cars. I wish that for you too. Yvette for her brother's health. He's being checked for cancer, so we're hoping that's cancer-free and really good. Betty Ann is in the hospital. I hope you're feeling better. Actually, I think she got out and she is doing better, so a quicker, fast recovery. Tina Marie, for her son to do well. Okay, so we're going to wish Tina Marie's son just a positive, amazing life where things start to like shake out his way and he's just going to do great. Bailey hopes to get in an apartment she applied for. And Janine is a wish for everyone with mental illness to be treated with compassion. I agree with that. And I have one more wish that I'm going to add, which is that my aunt is home and fully recovered and doing better. Hi, Aunt Joanne. I hope you feel better. And hi, Nancy and Colby. And then also my dad, Colby. So that was really weird that my cousin Nancy married somebody named Colby, which is not that common. And my dad's name is Colby. And we all reconcile.
I don't know if it's as strange as you
I
just
think it's a
shared
very
your.
strange name. It's a very strange name. It's my dad's name. So
We just
I'm goofing names.
we have very strange names in the families, though.
She's met me. She knows I'm weird. I come from dad's side of the family, and we're barn jumpers, so they know. They're not shocked by our strangeness. All right, let's go over to the paint. I have some really fun colors today for you. I have Cad Red Light, Quinacridone Magenta, Cad Yellow Medium. I have Phthalo Blue, Phthalo Green. This is what makes our little tutu. And I have this really fun thing. Zinc White and Titanium White. I've also got some fluid paint. I've got this little lamp black and this titanium white so I can have a nice time painting in my ballerina. These flow off the brush nicer, and with a detail brush give you a lot of control. And of course I have my handy-dandy Art Sherpa pouncers to make all those bokeh dots. Because you know I'm the girl who brought bokeh to the platform and said, yeah, we can paint it. All right. I got my little coffee in my lipstick here. Clearly. And water for my acrylic paint. So do you guys have all your stuff?
They do.
You don't really have to try to paint along live. Sometimes also it'll write it and be like, I was trying to paint along live. You go so fast. Yeah, because you guys want me off air in kind of a particular period of time. So I got to hustle.
So some folks were like, what are barn jumpers?
Barn jumpers? Oh. So in my family's history, especially out of Rollins, Wyoming, which is where my dad's family is from, we had family members that may have flown before the Wright brothers, but they jumped off the barn with their plane and never came back. So not as successful flight. Yeah. And that was actually a thing when people were trying to fly, is they would jump off barns with different contraptions attempting to fly. And there's just always, didn't you know a kid who would like get an umbrella and try to jump off the barn? Like, yeah, I fully did that. Don't do it. You will break your leg. I'm not advocating it.
No.
But it is a thing that happens in the human species.
I guess that's like the people who are piloting drones now.
Yeah, or tying balloons. I am a person that probably at a particular time in life might have tied a balloon to my chair.
Or
But for luck, I would be in the Darwin Awards so many times. So I'm going to take my Cad Red and my Magenta, and I'm going to kind of loosely mix them together. I love these paints when they're mixed because they make the most incredible color. But on this particular case, I'm not going to mix them very incorporated, which usually I do. I'm going to rinse this off and get my palette knife clean. Later, for the tutu, I'm going to mix these two and make some phthalo turquoise. But first, I got to get in my background. I'm misting my paint because it's dry in here. And sometimes when it's dry, you know, it will give us some a little bit of trouble. And one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just barely tip some of this color on my brush. I'm using a 2-inch bright. This is from the Stiff White Nylon Sweet Deals. You can find these at Ross, actually, crazily enough. Getting lots and lots and lots of yellow, like you do, and a little bit of the red. Look at that bead on there. So that's a lot of paint, right?
Mm.
And so what I'm going to do, and I may even mist my canvas with my mister, so everything flows. Sometimes when you do this, the canvas board can bend and stuff, and so you might have some trouble with that. And if you do, don't panic. Switch to an ampersand artist paint. That won't happen to you ever. All right, so I'm brushing these up. This is just an economy board here, particle paper board, so it's a little more sensitive temperature. I'm just doing a brush stroke up. Can you guys see how I'm just brush stroking up?
That has been an interesting journey, though, hasn't it?
Yes.
Learning that your substrate surface is as important as the materials you're working on for the final product.
Well, I think that's something we knew, but knowing that it's going to be as impactful for students has been interesting.
I guess that's true.
So I'm going to continue to brush this up. The bottom half of this is, get a little water on my brush. See, I just dipped in my, going to be this lighter yellow, and then we're going to use the darker to come down from the top and blend. So we're making kind of a streaky abstract background. Lots of different backgrounds we can make. Sometimes I have to brush up and down to get the canvas to cover.
This is such a crazy combination. The camera sometimes has troubles focusing.
I imagine it's having trouble understanding the color and also understanding the background. Now, before this is completely dry, I want to kind of bring the darker color down from the top. So I'm going to dip my brush in. I'm going to get even a little more magenta. I'll let some of my yellow get on here, but I definitely want this top part to be streaky but a little bit darker and to blend into the wet bottom half. Getting a little bit worked here. And I think I want a little more of my yellow into that top mixture. I want it to be darker, but I do want some of these yellow little streaks to be coming down like they do. There isn't really a right way or a wrong way to do this. Your goal is to make a darker top and a lighter bottom for your dancer to be a scooting across. I'm going to get my brush and water and pull out a little more of this mixture. I might add a little more quinacridone into it. Another fun little mix. You can put a little zinc in there if you need it to pop some. But really, we're just trying to get this streak. Let me mist again. My canvas be thirsty today. Do you ever have a canvas that's just thirsty? Well,
You
panel.
know, I was
thirsty
realizing
panel.
I still come to this from a very student's perspective, even though I've watched this a
So
lot.
many videos. I'm gonna miss this so that it just trying to improve the flow of it down so that I have the nice space. Oh, that's covering it. Sometimes my canvas gets thirsty. Thirsty, thirsty. All it takes though, this bright top and bottom. And because this is probably going into a kid's space, you do want to keep those colors bright and poppin'. Because that's gonna make the room cheerful, right? You can do this on a really big canvas. I'm bringing some yellow through here. Can you guys see this? I'm going pretty fast. I'm pulling out this yellow, and the reason is so that I can get some little streaks up here because I want the background to feel like there's sort of this light falling down and being sort of magical. And if you lose too much of the bottom yellow, it's no problem because guess what? You can do. I'm right back up. Look at that. This is something that you can play with till you feel that you've caught the stage. Oh!
Ooh! Oh man, you made me go ooh. I bet you. Oh, how many else did that? I want to know who else went ooh in chat. That was. It got me. It got you.
Super annoying.
Wow, that was funny.
So if ever that happens to you, I've gotten a wet bright. And I'm gonna just, before the paint dries, take it away. Grr.
Wow, that was like you got that scrubbed off pretty quick.
Yeah. And I needed to because, like, as long as I got a little vigorous over here with my brush, and that's all that happened to me. But look, it just goes away like it never happened. Don't panic when boo-boos happen. They're just boo-boos.
Yes, everybody jumped and said, "Ooh."
Ooh, no.
That's funny.
All right. When you feel like you've got a very nice kind of dark bottom, dark top, light bottom, you can begin the pouncers. I'm going to rinse this out, though, because I don't want the acrylic paint to dry on my brush, because that will ruin it. I'm going to wipe it off and put it to the side. And while this is right here, I'm going to get to do my pouncers. I really love my pouncers. I'm going to show you lots of tricks to make them happy, happy little pouncers. And I'm going to say the first one we're going to do some big ones. And even though we have the mix of the quinacridone and the CAD here, I'm going to go ahead and tap in, if you'll notice, a bunch of this into my pouncer. So I'm going tap, 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 fairly well covered. And I'm going to get titanium white, and I'm going to put it on just that one spot. See that? And that's going to create a variance in my little circle. And I'm going to come down to this midpoint, and I'm going to make these little background light swirls.
Very backgroundy.
They're very backgroundy. I'm going to get a little more.
They're really
light.
cool, though.
Huh?
Those are really cool.
Well, I want them to feel like there's some distant light casting around her. And, you definitely want them to go behind the wonderful curtain. That curtain's going to be so fun and easy to put in. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to see in the group 25 gazillion curtain paintings because you're going to be like, I've got see-through curtains now.
Oh, Joe was just asking how to explain what bokeh is to her significant other.
Okay. So in photography, bokeh is a technical term to refer to things being out of focus or blurry. It's an effect. Oftentimes, photographers will put a lens on the camera that will utilize that effect to make hearts with the lights. They'll be like little hearts or little dots. A lot of people are like, how would you paint that? And so then I realized pouncers would make these. And I had done some bokeh on a butterfly. And let me tell you, did that catch on?
Yeah.
It did. It was everywhere in like a minute. Ugh, perpetrators.
But
just putting those in. So these are far away. So they're sort of the background color, right? And what makes that nice is that it'll give you that effect. But I've got to, before we go too far in John, I got to switch and go to the next one. The only reason I'm rushing on John here.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I'm going to load up with my yellow. See how I'm tapping in with my yellow?
Yep.
Tap, 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 tap. It's okay to get a little bit of your red, but you want it to be predominantly yellow. And I put my white in on the side there. And let's go ahead and take this next size down. Even more yellow, I think, than what I have. I might put more out. So while I'm bokehing the yellow, you can ask me the question, John.
Oh, no, I was just like, what I found is interesting is that as you've gone through this sort of bokeh journey, you have reinterpreted bokeh as sort of this painterly, artistic view of a defocused background as you almost emotionally see it with a camera.
And it's crazy to see how this stuff spreads around the world, because I'll be on Instagram and I'll see someone who's probably not even following me, who's just seen the technique now online, and they incorporate it in some new way. And I'm like, that bokeh got everywhere. It's sort of neat to like see that happen. So can you see that I've layered in some of these smaller little lights to give some shape? All of these wonderful pieces need to go right into water. And I will pass them off to John in a minute to be rinsed out. Last ones I'm going to do with just my white. See these right here?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go pounce, 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 pounce. This is my smallest one. You can find these types of pouncer sponges and all that in different places. I just really love mine because they come out of their cups. They're easy to clean. I've got this back hole. That's why I love them.
Yeah, that little hole makes it so you can easily push the stuck ones out and wash your little foamies.
Now, these I'm going to be a little more careful with because these are like the spotlights in the recital, right? I'm going to use a strong perspective of white because I want them to really show almost like a little chandelier is happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to bring some down. I'm going to pass off my sponges to my handy-dandy assistant.
Studio hands.
Studio hands. To be rinsed out. Hi. So when you get those where you feel like you've got that feeling of stage lights, take a sip of your sippy, be it tea, be it coffee, be it water, or kale juice, whatever you choose to do to yourself today. I'm going coffee.
Coffee.
As clearly my hair has indicated. This is what happens when the Sherpa drink coffee. Hair get high.
The hair gets tall.
And I wear a very strange bow.
It's the 1980s creep out was what happens. They do. You know, I could just reach.
I'm gonna draw my painting now.
I wonder.
1980s creeps
I wonder
out.
if I. Does it work? I wonder. No, it's not plugged in over there. Okay, so I should tell you guys some interesting facts about. Let me see if that's working. Is it working? Hey, sort of. Wait. Man, it's noisy over there. Okay. So if you're doing this at home, make sure that if you're using your hair dryer or whatever, or make sure you use it on the lowest heat setting. There, try to spit that out of there. The reason is heat can cause color distortion or shrinkage, and just generally can cause some problems with your surfaces as well. So if you use heat, so just air doesn't cause any problems there. So
where?
I was just saying, making sure to not use any heat when drawing your.
It does help prevent some of the greater color shift. Now I want to make sure that my silhouette is the same each time I do it. And you know, it's like you freehand it and then you're like, but could I freehand it again exactly the same? And since we're all painting together, I like to try to make as much of it the same as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and rub the back of her. The reason I'm not using my yellow Ceril transfer paper is I feel like it's going to be hard as I'll get out to see on my yellow background.
Turn my music back down.
Turn your music back down.
I have, just when you're doing a hair dryer, I try to turn on a little bit of background music so that it doesn't, it lessens the, because even my microphone picks up your hair dryer from over there sometimes. You know.
Alrighty.
It's noisy.
So I'm going to tape her on. It did an interesting thing I've never seen before.
What's that?
It made that rubbing. And I've never had that in all of my evers. But I'm happy to say that it seems to come right off the dry paint. So I use the Tombow pencils that are waterproof to make my traceables. And I'm going to guess that it is the sticky nature of acrylic that caused that weird transfer. And now I'm going to experiment with that to see if that's a transfer that I can do. You're
going to experiment with it?
I am. I'm going to make sure that I'm all good down here and that it's gone and repaired and not showing. Right? This is me doing that. And hair dry real quick. Because we don't want it to be crazy like that. I only want the transfer that I want. So that's what I'm repairing.
Okay, so while she's doing that, I'll say thank you guys for coming and hanging out, because I looked over there and there's a whole group of my friends out here hanging out. So thank you. Love seeing you guys hanging out. And yes, Chris, I cannot say anything 3 times fast. No, that's just not my skill set. So I can push some buttons though. See? 1 button, 2 buttons, 3 buttons.
There's going to be some testing now.
That's
see if that's like a thing we can duplicate on purpose.
What's that?
Well, that way that ink went onto my canvas to transfer the image. Think about that potential.
Oh.
Just 2 seconds. That has a lot of potential, doesn't it?
It does. You're going to try some stuff later, I can tell.
So sometimes as artists, what will happen is an unexpected experience will happen in our studio. Right? And we go, ooh, not what I want right now. I'm going to take the leg up a little bit longer. You know, not what I'm wanting right now, but I would want it maybe some other way. And then you see if you can duplicate that effect. And that's why wonderful people like Bob say there's no mistakes, only happy accidents. It's because everything that happens in your painting has purpose. Even the things that aren't working the way that you want them to. It can be so hard to see that though when you're new. Right? Like when you're new, if your transfer paper leaves a little black mark, it's just an upsetting thing that you have to figure out how to fix. But when you've been at this for a while, you're like, huh, that's an interesting possible thing that we could take advantage of later. So I'm just tracing over her legs and her arms and face because those are going to be the parts that are going to be more challenging to duplicate. You can see that the graphite has gone from my paper onto the canvas. Super helpful to me.
It's very transparent. You can barely see it though.
Barely, but I can see it, and that's
like
what we really want.
Zoom in there, and you can see just ever so slightly in there.
I'm going to get a nice number 4 round, but a crystal round. These are a multimedia brush. They're softer than my brushes, but this is a fluid paint, so that will totally work for what we're doing here. And I'm going to just paint in the lines that I've transferred. If you're painting with a little brush at home, you know, this transfer is something that you can do for them. I'm going to put on my vision enhancing units like Dorothy LaForge. Somebody needs to I need to take that banana clip and make my own, because I think that's actually what they did was a banana clip, right? Making sure my hair is right there. I'm coming in.
Although I have to say the ladies are digging your bow today.
Are you digging my bow?
They're like, at some point, John, you're going to have to get her to spin around so we can get a good look at that thing.
All right. Notice on the hands that I just did these. Look, one light line on the hair, another line. This, by being abstract and delicate, it prevents me from having to worry about like things like an anatomically correct hand that might be really challenging starting out.
No, which brush is that?
This is a number 4 crystal round. This is a multimedia brush.
I've used that one for...
Yeah, you've used it. I've given this to John. I give this to the kids. It's really good for softer paints. And it's not, it's actually fairly well engineered and not particularly expensive. So it's just something to think about. I like to switch it up so you guys know that you don't have to like, I think sometimes, you know, when artists get lines of tools, they forget to remind you guys that other things still work.
Yeah.
So see, I'm just doing these little hands like little weird feathers going back. And I'll go ahead and paint this in, her crown in, and her bodice in. The tutu is the most fun. I won't even lie to you here. Now, if you're painting a very inexpensive paint, which I'm not, you may find that your black is almost transparent and streaky. That's fine. It just may take 2 to 3 coats to get a solid coverage. Okay? So don't feel like you can't even use black paint or something crazy. Like, you're like, man, I can't even make my black paint go. You're fine. You can. All right.
Don't forget the crown.
Don't forget her crown because she's the queen of the ballet. And she's very, very proud of it. She's excited about that. You know, she's worked really hard. She showed up for all her rehearsals. Her feet hurt. Her toenails fell off. Ballerinas are nodding.
We don't talk about that part. We talk about
that's the beauty of ballet is the pain. Have you ever seen a ballerina's feet? Beautiful, but also terrifying. I had a lot of friends that danced when I grew up, so I know the pain of ballet.
I do
vicariously, because after I saw my friend's toenails fall off, I thought, yeah, I'm good. I'll stick with horses. They just kick me in the face. That's all that happens. So, like, the worst that could happen. And it still seems better than what's going on down there. But it takes a dedication, and I think that's why we have such admiration for ballerinas in general, is the way that they see past those moments to bring the arts to us. We're going to paint a Degas painting called The Star very soon. We're going to replicate it. And you think all the way back to when he was sneaking into the back of recitals to paint ballerinas, because they're very cool models and they have cool costumes and there's interesting lighting. Totally get why he made that decision. But you think about the dedication that has just always been in that particular art form. And I think that's why we admire dancers. But I'm always Team Leroy from Fame. I'm not going to sing it though. I'm going to resist. You love the curve on her point?
I like it.
She's so pointed. Her feet are turned out.
Is that what that means?
Yeah.
You have to
Her
go down
hips
and
are
see
open.
That.
She has wonderful long lines. She bows and she bends. She elongates and she strengthens. She has, through her fingertips and her toes, a line is transmitted.
Man,
oh, yeah. Maybe I patron the arts a little bit too.
You know, like way more than.
Well, you know what? I have insomnia and I stay up and do things that you don't do.
Now,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that I could. I'm like.
I muse on the philosophies of Popeye. I watch dance. I polish silverware. Whatever it takes. All right, here we go. Nice little calf. Working hard right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Her calf is working. Now, the nice thing about getting her in and placed is that I know where she's going to be so I can put the ground. I've given myself, look at this, 2 fingers, right, of area to put a floor underneath her. And that's really, really going to be good for me. It's going to be good for me, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Cooney, yeah.
I hear.
I see some smudgy, so I'm going to just remove those.
Desmudge.
But they come right off. So whatever that was, that's a very interesting thing. I will test that. Wouldn't that be interesting if we just discovered a new way we're going to transfer our images?
It would be so interesting. Live discovery from the Art Sherpas.
Well, I think it'll be later, and they'll be like, "Look, it works, and it's reliable, and we use it." Or it might be like, "Nope, tested, it's terrible, never use it, just a mistake that we got around." You gotta take it to the testing kitchen. Right. Get that in there. I'm just getting those little things off. So she's having herself a little dry, and while she's doing that, I'm going to take advantage of one of my favorite tools, the T-square.
The T-square.
Now, these are very inexpensive. They're just a few dollars. You really shouldn't spend more than 3 or 4 on them, I don't think. They're plastic. They're about a foot long, and they give you a very level line. If you don't have one, but you happen to have like a paper towel in your house, pull 2 sheets off and fold them at the perforation and use that to square up your line. Yeah, I'm not got the tricks.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to actually flip this over.
Okay.
So that I have a good ledge, and I'm going to take my T-square right up to her little foot here, and I'll go ahead and give myself, see, that goes a little bit above her foot, so I can move that down. And that's why I like to check this, so that I'm getting, there we go, right below her toe. And this is going to come across all the way to be the floor. I'm using a watercolor pencil it'll blend into, and it's like a blue one, so it'll just blend right into the aqua paint I'm about to make. So now, whether you did it with your paper towel or your T-square, you've got that nice line, right?
You do.
You do. Let's make some turquoise. So that is phthalo blue and phthalo green, and I'm going to mix the 2 of them together on a 1-to-1 ratio. 1 part green, 1 part blue. And that's where turquoise comes from, boys and girls. From the paint Cabbage Patch. Smudgy hand-sculpted dolls are sold for thousands of dollars and adopted.
Yes.
And 5 of you win.
And then 2 of you went, I had 10.
And was a licensed distribution adoption center before that toy company got hold of it. So I'm going to sip my coffee.
Xavier, where are my friends now?
I'm going to grab a nice bright, I think I'm going to get a number 10 Ruby Satin. I'm going to dip that in water. Looks like we've got Goldilocks too. Want it maybe a little more green. Now, if you add white, you'll start to see how turquoise that is right away. I'm going to come along underneath. Look at that pop against the orange. Have you ever seen anything like that in your life?
That is some intense, like,
It's pretty crazy, right?
yeah.
I'm going to dip my brush in water. I'm going to go ahead and let some white and maybe even some zinc get on there. And I'm going to just pull this down like this. All I'm going to do, pull it down. That's the floor. We're going to do the coolest thing in a minute. It's kind of messy though. But who doesn't like messes? All the little brushes go, yay, mess!
I like the messes.
Everybody likes a mess. One of the interesting things that I can do while this is still wet is I can take my mister and look at that. I can come through here, look, and soften it as it goes and make this little floor. Have you ever seen anything so cool?
That is cool.
Little things that you can do. And you can even come back and just make sure you've got some of this. I have less than 30% water here, so interestingly enough, it probably won't underbind on me. Means it might even be archival. Figure. And that's really about where your boundary is the water. But I find that this was a really neat way to make the stage seem interesting and sort of reflective and a little ephemeral. And I didn't want to skip a single solitary step or technique that I had done, so that I wanted to make sure that you guys had everything you needed to create this for yourselves at home. Now I'm going to get a number 2, right? You guys see that? I'm going to dip that in water. And I'm going to go ahead and get just my turquoise on here. And I'm going to make sure that this is dry. If it's dry, I'm going to put in her little outfit. All right. I may need my glasses so I can see. You might need a little white so you can see it too. See, just a little white so that it shows up, right? Otherwise, it's so dark, it's almost a black. There we go. Itself. Come under here. Let's go to the shoulder. And you can even take this down a little bit into where you know the tutu is going to be. Just paint it neatly. Okay. And then I really like to get a lot of white. Come along the front. And just put a little highlight. Of a very light color, right? Just a little highlight. Now I always come back and deepen this, but that's just really nice. It's a little something that I can do while I'm waiting for her. Rinse that out. If you have any of my detail brushes, I'm going to suggest doing the number 2 filbert, dipping in water. Make sure that you have just enough white on your brush that the turquoise doesn't read as black to your eye. And you can go ahead and do a couple things. You can come and put in her little shoes. I like to line the bottom of the foot first. Uh-oh, I'm having a day, aren't I?
You know what?
Huh.
Everyone's really kind of enjoying seeing that. That
some days
mistakes
just
happen.
The canvas bumps you.
Yeah.
And you've got to work it out. So what I'm doing is I'm getting clean water in my towel. And before the paint gets out of hand, I'm just cleaning it up. And once I have it cleaned up, I'll go back to what I was doing. Make sure that my canvas is a little more stable than I obviously had it. And go ahead and paint in just the tip of the toe. See the tip of the toe? Right? And you can go ahead and put a little band across. You can even take some up the heel, but very slightly. I like to do one across the ankle, and then I sort of X up the leg. See how we're Xing up the leg? You can go across.
They think this is very, very technical.
technical.
It's very like there's lots of people holding their breath, and I mean like this is very accurate to like how ballet shoes and
Oh, thank you. Trying. Trying. All right, little white, little turquoise. And coming back, I'm going to come back here again, and I'm going to just press hard and go light and hard and light. And that's how I make my ribbon seem thick and thin. And then once it's dry, I can come put a nice little highlight on it, right? Now I'm going to get my darkest of my turquoise. I'm going to make sure that her bodice has that nice little shadow. I think it would. Wouldn't it?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so we're going to pull that down. Just so she's got it. And while we're here, she needs a gemstone on her crown. So I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of the turquoise. Make sure you've got some white into it. And come and give her an oval, a heart, just a gemstone. I find it's best to do a darker version of the turquoise with a white reflection later. So it feels gemstone. If she has different favorite colors though, you know what guys, that's okay. You can work that. This will work with any color combo that you need. I'm getting a little of my water into my brush, improving the flow, loading up. I have a nice little bit of paint on here. And hopefully not tipping my toe again. I'm going to come underneath the foot. Cover the toe a little bit. You can cover the heel a little bit. Cross the front. Little mark there. Little X's. Couple lines. All right. And then how are we going to do the ribbons? We're going to come here. We press hard and light, and that's how we get that thick thin. And then it's going to be how we choose to highlight it, right? So thin, thick. That's that little ribbon. That's what she's got flowing off that little tutu. Now sometimes I'll come in with a little white and my blue. Even before I highlight, I can come up to the gem John. And I can just tap in a little reflection, can't I?
Yeah.
A little bit of a reflection on her little gem. I can also put a little bit of one on her toe or across her little shoe. I can come here and on the rise, I can make a little bit of a highlight. And then I can come here and make a little bit of a highlight. You guys love that? Like,
oh yeah.
boom, boom. Reflecty ribbon. Just a little bit of light and dark shows that ribbon catching light and shining in the stage lights. You come right here, boom, and maybe on that rise. And then you can even do it on the tip. But doesn't it feel like the ribbon's twisting now?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Nice twisty ribbon. And maybe I'll come off that like that. Make it a little bit interesting. And I'll give her just a little highlight on that ribbon. Top of the shoe. Make sure that her point is well connected to the floor. Now, the fun. Are you ready for the fun? I don't know. You guys ready for the fun? The best part, the juicy juice, the good part of the painting.
I think so.
All right, get your scruffly brushes. Get your scruffle brush, my friends. I'm going to get a number 4 Cambridge. So this is a mix of bristles and synthetic filaments, but you want your brush that's a little roughed up that gives you a nice kind of rough edge. I'm going to dip in water and drag off the extra. I'm going to pull out, flip, and load. See how I'm flipping? I'm doing the darkest of my little turquoises. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come to her little shoulder, go flick on the edge. See, I'm just pulling out, making the little sleeve there. Now, behind her, coming back, this is important, short stroke behind her. As the strokes come out, they're going to get longer. You can get a little white just so that it's showing, but you do want this to be your darkest turquoise, okay? As I'm coming around, the strokes are going to get longer. They're going to be the longest right here. Boy, this day. Do you see that?
I do.
Did you not want to tell me?
Well, we'll work it out. This is your show, not mine.
Okay, I need to have some alcohol wipe.
Would you get that?
Yeah, I got
All
it.
right.
Look, I'm just getting it off my own hand. I'm like, no, 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 no.
Scrub it off.
No, Wilbur, no. I can paint. So I'm coming from underneath this tutu. Kids with me, pulling out, and let that stroke kind of release. And that's how I get those tutu-y little edges. Longer, longer, longer through here. But what's going to happen is we come around, right? Two things. We're going to switch the curve. See, now I'm curving forward. And again, the strokes are going to get shorter. See that? How we're doing that? That is how we put that little tutu in perspective. And that is all it takes. Isn't that kind of exciting? How easy that is to do. You could do so many tutus. You could do this dress long. You could do this dress short. Okay. I've added some white. I'm going to come back. And leaving some of the dark, I'm just very lightly brushing, aren't I? This is a lighter blue. I'm coming from the waist. Let's pull some of these down, right? Some of these little tendrils down. The costume designer, she's an award winner. She knows what her dancers need to show all the kinetic movement of their bodies perfectly. So that all of everything they're doing translates out. There we go. Coming around. And we know what the deal is now, don't we? Because we're going to shorten that stroke. And what did we do? Now, while we're at it, get a little more of the white on your brush. And you can come here to the sleeve, tipping just the little edges of the sleeve. Isn't that wonderful? I'm going to offload, which means I'm pressing the brush down. See, getting all that extra paint off.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to get a lot of white. But you can see there's a lot of pigment. I'm going to loosely mix it. See how loosely mixed it is? You can put a little bit right here, maybe, where it's coming around. Maybe a little bit right there coming out. You're telling costume story, tutu story, just a little bit. Pull it down, come down this edge. Maybe pull one long one. Look at that. How fluffy is her tutu? How fluffy is her tutu? It's very, very fluffy.
I like it.
I like it too. Now, to do the curtain, I want to make sure that this is dry, which it is. And I'm going to continue to use these little scruffly brushes, though I'm inclined to grab one of the bigger ones that I have. I think I will do this number 8. And I'm going to get into my zincs. But first, I'm going to drink my coffee and say you guys are doing a better job than you probably know.
Coffee time.
Coffee time.
I'm going to mute myself so I can drink.
You're going to mute yourself so you can drink, Mr.
I'm going to mute.
Kenny.
Mute.
Boom.
Unmuted. I'm back. What was that?
I was wondering if the bubbles were plugged in today.
Oh, so, sort of. So, if I go over here and I plug this back into this.
And they are.
I think it is.
You look so cute and short. Hi, cutie patootie.
I was working on my Mini.
I know you were. I got taken out for riding the convertible today.
Oh, it does work. It has the obliteration bubbles in it.
Don't we all feel better? Oh my gosh, it's like tsunami bubbles. Ah! I ate one.
That's a lot of bubbles. But see, now the bubbles are on a remote control.
I'm going to get just my
zinc. She can get bubbled from here.
Oh, so good for my hair. I'm going to get just my zinc on here, on the edge of my brush. Now, if you're very confident in your drawing, you can freehand this in. If you're not, I highly recommend you chalking it in, but I don't know where my white chalk is, so I will just, oh, here it is. So if you're just not feeling really perfect about your curtain, I'm going to want my curtain to tie right about this spot, the midway spot on my canvas, right? But actually, I would like it to be at a downward angle because that feels more curtainy to me. So I'm going to come here and pull in a line. And then there's a little gather where our turquoise strip would be, right? And then I'm going to come here and pull down a line, saying that it's puffing back out like a stage curtain does. I've got zinc loaded on my brush. And it's why it's listed in the description, if you don't have the zinc white, you can use the acrylic glazing liquid into your titanium to make it more transparent. It's not quite the same, but it will get you a similar effect. You can get inexpensive zinc white from all kinds of paint companies. So just because your company may not have it doesn't mean it's got to be expensive, and it doesn't mean that you can't get it. And oh, by the way, sometimes companies, just to give you grief, will call it mixing white. So just be looking for mixing white or zinc white. I really like the Talon Amsterdam, and I also really like the Abstract. For that color, I think they both really kind of rock it, and you're talking such like very few dollars, right? So feel like you can get it. I think a lot of the paint companies are starting to try to carry the, interestingly enough, the colors that I paint with. I've been noticing that. I'm like, great to see the palettes change. How long before we get a kit that has phthalo blue instead of ultramarine and all my colors? What do you bet?
Oh.
I think they'll do it. Notice how I'm keeping this concentrated at the top and the bottom?
Yeah.
I'm working the edge of my brush. Look at this, just stroking up edge, making uneven little areas. Some of them are thicker and some of them are thinner. And where the curtain is more gathered, it will be not as sheer. You love how this makes a sheer curtain? I love it. I love it. See, I'm just making it a little darker where it would be more gathered. See, what you should be having is a curtain that's starting to feel like it's there. Now, I'm going to pull down the zinc like this. See how I'm doing? You could be doing a mix of your glaze and titanium. And I'm going to make sure my edges are maybe a little more defined. And let's come up here from the bottom. And if I have to, look what I can do. I can make it more comfortable by myself by turning the canvas. It's hard on John.
Nah.
But remember to turn your canvas, not yourself. One of the ways we get injured when we're painting is we contort our bodies to get an angle or expression on the canvas, when really you should have just moved the canvas, not yourself. Now, when I have the transparent, I'm going to go back again this way. When I have the basic transparent curtain in, I can start working either a second coat of my zinc, or I'm going to mix my zinc and titanium, right? You could just use less glazing liquid if that's what you got. I'm going to come to the outside of the curtain and make sure that's a little more defined. And look. Is this fun or what?
Oh, yeah.
Curtain. So easy. So simple. Just a joy. And listen, if you're struggling with it and you hear me going so easy, so simple, and you feel like cursing me, that's okay. Remember, sometimes things in life might, it's like riding a bicycle. It has a period where it can be challenging, but just know that it's something you can do, and with practice, it becomes easier and easier over time. Okay, so never be stressed out. If, not just myself, any teacher says something's easy, and you're like, well, this seemed a little harder than I expected. See how I'm darkening the white up here, making more coverage, but leaving that sort of sheer. Right? Maybe I'll make a little wrinkle there that's sort of more covered. We're building it up, aren't we? Build it up, build it up. Yeah, know that we all grow at our own pace. Artists are not made, they are grown and developed over time. A lot of practice and time. pull one's art together. So just know that. I'm just pulling this nice darker area down underneath where I'm going to have my blue. Try not to get any of my blue into my curtain. I've had enough cleaning up today. I'm going to definitely darken this outer edge, right? And just pull some of these little darker fabric folds together. So if you ever look at chiffon, next time you're out and you're looking at someone's sheer outfit, look at how where the fabric is folding, how as it's coming together, right? That's what makes it feel like it's a sheer fabric, right? Okay. We've got a nice sheer fabric. When you're happy, happy, happy with your curtain, I'll turn her to the side. Sorry, babe. I love you.
Hey, no problem.
I want some of this to be a little bit more powerful, as if it's gathered a little bit more, right? I'm just pulling. Now I'm going to get this little tie. I've got this here. I'm going to see what, oh, my number 2 bright. Perfect. I'm going to get what's left of my turquoise. I'm going to add a little white to it, but not too much because, you know, I want to have a highlight. And I'm going to come here and make a little tie. That's a stroke across, brush on my edge, pulling it back. The brush is on its edge. I'm pulling it back.
Now, are all the paints you're using here
heavy body? Yes.
heavy body? Yeah.
Yeah. Except for the black.
Except for the black.
Which, you know, I need that nice flow. I need a nice Rappa the Rappa says, giving it a nice flow. All right. So by turning it this way, I'm going to give myself a little break. And I'm going to get my brush here. I'm going to load up a bit of my pigment, right? I'm going to come underneath. I'm going to make a couple of ties that go down. See how we did? And I'll make sure that that's got nice coverage. I'm pressing harder than I usually do to create that little flow. And then maybe right here, I'll come here and be like, ah. It's just about getting the calligraphy of that happening. Saying it's getting thicker and thinner as we're going down. There we go. I've got some little ribbons traveling down. Now I'm going to get a lot more white onto my brush, and I'm going to say, hey, here in the center, let's make a reflection. Okay. And a lot more white. And I'm going to say maybe that. Okay, coming from the edge here has a highlight. And then that could have a highlight. So we're varying the light and dark of the turquoise, just like we did on the shoes, right? More light. Let's make this maybe lighter here. And it could come and be a little lighter there. You know how we're doing? Just showing these lights and darks popping up and disappearing as they go. If you lose any of your light and dark, you just come back and make your dark turquoise, right, which is your green and your blue mixed together. And you can come right underneath there. See how we're doing? Making sure the shadows are where we want them. More of that dark value. So you can just play with those light and shadows as much as you need to make your ties feel windy. And as soon as you have a nice little light dark, that you think is good, guess what you get to do?
Sign it?
You get to sign it. I'm going to go over here and get some of my light kind of white turquoise onto my number 2. I'm going to come to the far right, on top of the stage, interestingly enough. And I'm going to go ahead and put my signature right here. I think it'll be interesting in the composition. And that is how you can do an abstract little ballerina with a sheer curtain and bokeh bubble. Now, you make the skirts longer and shorter. You can add flowers. You can put on a flower crown. You can flower the skirt. You can put 3 dancers, 4 dancers. You can literally layer the traceable and put a little row of these in. There are no end to the combos. You can do different background colors. You can do all kinds of things. I hope you will use these to celebrate your recitals and the different dances in your children's life. Remember, pink and green always play nice against each other. I think they're a lot of fun. I'm super excited for the painting tomorrow. And hey, guys, if you want to never miss a live or a weird thing that we're doing, be sure that you go by the website and sign up for the notification note, right? We will basically, like, you know that thing where, like, sometimes we'll try to go live and we have to go back and back and back again and you don't have the link? Guess what? We'll tell you every attempt that we make. If we're live, we'll let you know, and that way you're not like, man, nobody told me. So if it's something you never want to miss a show, that would be a thing I would do. And also, please check out our new series on IGTV that's on Instagram. These are beginner painting party style watercolors. So we have those there. And of course, on Facebook, now we have Watercolor Wednesdays and Techniques Tuesdays. So go by the Art Sherpa Facebook page, not group, not me, but the page, and follow it so that you can see our lives there. But if you have the notification gnomes, you'll know. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other. And where do I want to see you? At the Easel really soon.